My living room is in a state of chaos because I'm on a mission to turn my outdated wardrobe into pieces I'm excited to wear. I'm starting by ripping apart a dress that I used to wear all the time, but now it's really worn out and just taking up space in my closet. I'm turning this dress into a new top, but at this point I realize I'm not going to have enough fabric to make all the straps. So even though this is going to take forever, I'm using my seam ripper to take all the elastic out of the back of this dress in hopes it's going to give me enough fabric. This made a ton of tiny little thread pieces, so I thought I'd try using a lint roller to get them all out, which worked really well, but was really difficult to do with a camera in your hand. This piece was insanely wrinkly, so I ironed it flat using a pillowcase to protect the fabric. Then I pinned the pattern piece for the straps to the fabric before I started to cut it out. Cutting everything out makes me really nervous and it takes me a very long time. I'm sure there's an easy way to do it, but I just haven't figured that out yet. Once I started cutting the straps, though, I realized I still didn't have enough fabric, so I gathered up some of the scraps and patchworked those pieces together so I could continue cutting the rest of the pieces out. And here's all the pieces I needed, and now it's time to sew it together. I stitched down the side of the straps to make a little tube, and then I needed to turn that right side out, which is really hard. So I looked up a hack for this and saw you could use a straw and a chopstick. This method was still really hard, but by the fourth strap, I was finally starting to figure it out. I think if I used a smoother straw, that would have worked a lot better, but this is the only straw I had that would fit the chopstick down the middle. Once I'd finished all four of the straps, I pinned them to the main top piece and the lining, and then I stitched around the edges, making sure to leave the bottom open so I could turn it right side out. And then I laid it flat and started working on the ruffle that goes along the bottom. To make it easier to gather, I changed the stitch length on my sewing machine to the longest setting, and I sewed along the edge of the ruffle, and then you just pull on the top thread until the gathered fabric is the length you want it to be, and then I pinned the ruffle, and I stitched it to the top, and then this is the finished product.